Hey guys, it's Chelsea. Sorry, as soon as the camera turned on, I saw what my hair looked like. And it made me giggle because the boys at work have started calling this ninja hair, which is basically what happens to my hair when it's dirty and I won't do anything and I pull it up in a bun, and sometimes the bun is like much further up on my head. And so anyways, this is not relevant. The boys at work call it ninja hair. So it made me giggle as soon as I saw it, and then I realized the recording had started and it was awkward. So anyways, hey guys, it's Chelsea, and it is January 1st, 2016. Welcome to the new year. That's crazy. Anyways, I have something I've been really excited to share with you guys, and I was going to wait until the end of January to share it with you, but I got a little overexcited, and so I just decided I'm going to go ahead and share it. So what I'm going to share with you is my bullet journal, how I've set it up, and why I chose to do a bullet journal. So first of all, you're probably wondering what a bullet journal is. Basically what it is it's a system developed by Ryder Carroll. Yes, I'm trying to read my own chicken scratch. Isn't that pathetic? It's a system developed by Ryder Carroll, and it was basically meant to be a quick journaling, note-taking, and planning system. It allows you to do future planning going months forward. It allows you to plan for the month at hand, and then each day has a daily sheet that allows you to plan what's happening that day, and then a bulleting system to keep up with the notes and events and thoughts that you have throughout the day. Now, if you know me at all, you know that I'm a pretty big list maker. So as soon as I saw this, I was super excited. Now let's back up a minute. The reason I was even looking for something is because my planner / note-taking system for home and work was kind of a disaster. I had a really solid system at my old job, which I'd be happy to go over because I used it kind of more for a corporate environment. If anyone's interested, I can dig up that stuff and show it to you. But when I switched, almost exactly a year ago, I switched to a job working from home, and it had a completely different structure, and I could never find a system that worked. I tried to adapt the system I had been using to my new job, and it didn't work, so I abandoned it after about a month. And then I kind of had no system for a while, and then I essentially was kind of bullet journaling, but with no structure around it. Not that bullet journaling needs a lot of structure, but it was kind of just all over the place. And it was in this notebook, and then that notebook, and then a random scrap of paper, and then a sticky note that just fell off my monitor and fell behind my desk, and then I forgot to do something. There was no one place to do all the planning for home, for work, and for everything else, future, all that. I needed one place for all of that. So that's where the bullet journal came in. I remember this last December too, like last year in December, I was like, not 2015, 2014 in December, I was like desperately searching like the week before the end of the year. Oh my gosh, I need a planner, I need an Erin Condren, I need a paper planner, I need something, and I could never find something that was a good fit. So I just abandoned the search, and January started and I gave up. So this year, around December 15th, I ended up in that same, oh my gosh, people are getting planners for the new year, I have to have one. And I couldn't find one that worked for me. And so I was getting frustrated at this point because my system I was using wasn't working. I had a lot of responsibilities and I felt like they were falling through because I had nowhere to put them. So I was searching alternative planner, I don't even remember. It came up in a Google search as a unique type of planner. And I went to the website, which I'll link below. It's bulletjournal.com. It's where you can learn way more than this rambling is going to teach you. And you can learn the original system and how it works and why it works the way it does. The second I saw it, it was like this light bulb went off. Like I connected with it. It was my soulmate, and I was so excited. So I gathered up some supplies. Now the cool thing about bullet journaling is you can use like a 99-cent composition book if you want, but I'll show you what I'm using just because it's what I liked. But you can use anything. And I started the next week. So I'm so thrilled with this system. Obviously I wouldn't be sharing it with you if I wasn't. It is so awesome. So anyways, before this gets ridiculously long, I want to show you. So I did start the bullet journal in December. I started on December 13th, and so I did a December setup, and there were a lot of things that I ended up changing for my January setup. So what I'm going to show you is some of my initial like yearly setup things, and then I'm going to actually show you my January setup because it's the system that I like a lot better. So I'll show you also what notebook I use. So I use the Leuchtturm is I believe how you say it. It's a German company. This is the color Emerald, but I think it's more of like kind of a teal color, which I'm really loving this color lately. This notebook is highly recommended for bullet journaling. They also have a bullet journal specific notebook, but it was sold out, so that's why I ended up with this one. And then also this is like similar to a Moleskine like notebook. Like I said, you can use random pieces of paper bound together. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. But this one really appealed to me because of the color, and I felt like it was good quality, and I felt like I would use it more. There's a ton of videos about pros and cons of these notebooks. I'll just show you some basic features that I like. The first is the type of pages. You'll notice that those aren't lined or a grid, they're actually dotted, which really appealed to me. I used to primarily write on graph paper when I used to do a lot of poetry, and when I saw the dotted, it really appealed to me because I liked graph paper, but it was kind of in the way at times, and what I feel is nice about the dots is they're there when you need them, and they fade away if you want to ignore them. So I've really been a fan of that. It's got sort of like, just like a Moleskine, it's got a pocket in the back that I don't have anything in. It comes with labels to label the front and the spine so you can have a collection. It's built really to last. It comes with 2 different bookmarks, which I'll show you how I use those in a minute. And in the front, it comes with an index that I'll show you in just a minute as well. And that's one thing that's important for the bullet journaling is to go back and index pages so that you can find them again. Because basically, and I don't think I explained this well, but basically the big pro of bullet journaling is you set up your month and then you write the date of the next day, the first day of the month at the top of the page, and you write what you have to do that day, and you don't go any further at that point. Because one of my days of, agendaing and journaling and note-taking might take 5 pages, and one of them might take half a page. And that's okay in the system because there's no limit. I can write for as many pages as I need to write, and then the next day I write the new date on the top of the next page. I feel like I'm not explaining this well, but that's part of what I love about it, and so that's a very important thing to explain. You'll see that in a minute, and it'll make more sense. But anyway, so the index is really important to go back and say, oh yeah, that random list that I made, that's on page 25 when I need to find it again, if that makes sense. And that is another thing that's really nice about this notebook, is that the pages are already numbered for you. So that's really helpful. All right. I know this is what you guys are actually watching this video for, is to see the notebook. So let's look at it. Okay. I think we're finally recording. This is the 3rd time that I've said this and it wasn't actually recording. So I'm just confirming again just for my own peace of mind. Look, we're recording. Okay. So anyways, what I was saying was, this is my notebook, and the first thing I want to show you is the index. So that's one thing that's really nice about this Leuchtturm notebooks, is that it comes with index pages already set up here at the beginning. Now, if your notebook didn't, you could just take up 3 or 4 pages at the beginning and draw out an index yourself. The index is used, like I was saying, to refer back to things. So for example, I put when I started everything for December. I put when the pages that I set up for my list of books to read, etc. I put where I started January. And then at the end of January, I'll fill in the last page of January. And that's where the page numbers really come in handy in this notebook. If you didn't have page numbers, you could just number the pages that were relevant to have page numbers. But I really do like that this index is already here. After the index on the first real page, I set up my key here. So the key is kind of the basic setup for the bullet journal. So the bullet is the task, and then you X through it for a completed task. You draw an arrow forward to migrate the task forward, which I'll show you a migrated task. You draw an arrow backwards for something that you've scheduled for the future. It's not really something that I use all that often. You strike through anything that's canceled. You draw a circle for an event. And then you draw a line for a note as you bullet notes throughout your day. And then you can modify any of them with additional symbols out beside them. This is kind of a loose guide for me. I'd say that I'm not 100% here for the way that I do it. It kind of is how it happens, but this is probably the most common way that I do it. After that, you get into your future planner. Your future planner can look however you would like. A lot of people just write the name of the month and then put anything here. The point of the future planner is to have somewhere, if you think, oh yeah, in May, I need to remember to do that. This is a place that you can come and put, that task to remember. And then when you create your monthly May calendar, during May, you can come back and say, oh yeah, I need to remember to do that. I've used it so far for holidays, birthdays, those kinds of things. And then random reminders, like, I need to take a medication in February, so that's on there. I've got to pay taxes in April, so that's on there. So as, like, for example, when I made my January monthly spread, which you'll see in a minute, I came back here and said, oh yeah, here's all the things that I already know about that are happening in January. So I went ahead and did all of 2016 for that. You could do it however you wanted, but I felt like having the whole year ahead was really helpful for me. So after that, I had a few pages where I made some goals, some personal goals, and some goals for my company. They were pretty basic pages. And then I actually got into December. There are a lot of things that I did in December that were trials that I've done differently or better in January. So I think it's a better use of your time to show you January. One thing that is helpful that I did was I went ahead and put these, I'm hoping you're seeing this washi tape over the top of my December and January pages, and then over this collection that I'll show you in a bit. This notebook also has 2 handy bookmarks, which are usually at the beginning of the month as well as the current day. They are not right now because I already showed you all of this, but you didn't actually see it because it wasn't recording. So I'm going to skip to the second silver line, which is my January planner. So this is my monthly spread. Let me make sure now that I've moved all around that you're still seeing it. Yes, you are, and it is still recording. So this is my January monthly spread. As you can see, I kind of decorated a little bit. That's totally up to you. A lot of people just use a black pen and no decorations and write the word January at the top. But that is totally fine if that's what works for you. For me, a little bit of decoration makes it a little more exciting and gives me a little smile on my face, so I like it. I obviously am not the most artistic and don't have the best penmanship, but I'm making do with my skills and trying to get better. So this is my January setup. So for the monthly spread, the first thing I would do is set up, write the name of the month at the top, and then you would write the numbers of the days and the days of the week on the left, and then you can write any tasks, big tasks that are happening that day. This is a great time to reference back to your January future planner and see if there was anything that you added here and transfer it here. For me, I put big events on here. Some people put any scheduled event. It's just whatever works for you. For me, throughout my work day, I've got a lot of random scheduled events. So this is oftentimes things that are out of the normal. So for example, a day that I was off work, or my ski sessions, which is, in the winter is a normal thing, but it's out of my normal routine. My birthday, and a dentist appointment, those kinds of things. So I think that's what's helpful for me. It's whatever works best for you. There's a lot of different setups. Some people do morning, evening, and all day events, and do a whole page for their monthly spread, like a whole spread here. It's whatever works for you. I highly recommend, if I haven't said this already, because now everything's running together and I can't remember what I have said and haven't since I've recorded this a few times. There is a huge bullet journal community on Instagram and YouTube, and I'm sure there's some on Facebook as well, but I'm not on there anymore. But there's a lot of different layouts, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I recommend going on there and looking to see what layouts work best for you. This is the same layout that I did in December, and it worked really well for me then, and so I didn't really make many changes to it this year, or this month. I guess it is a new year, but this month I didn't make any changes actually to this spread. On the right side here, I just wrote month 1, 2016. You could have written whatever you wanted. And then these are big tasks that I need to do this month, but I don't necessarily have a day that they need to be done on. It's just things that I want to make sure I get done, such as certain vlogs that I want to make. I need to finish my 2016 goals since it's 2016. I need to pay my Q4 taxes for my Etsy store, so those kinds of things. And then I just put a cute stamp down here just because it felt fun. Here is that silver marker that I was talking about to help me find the day of the month, or the first day of January. And then I typically have my striped, I just hit the camera. Did it move? No, okay, sorry. You typically have my striped bookmark on this page and my solid bookmark on the first day, my next actual day. So, or vice versa, just depending on how I'm feeling about the bookmarks. But I'm going to move them up just because I feel like they're in the way right now. All right, so on my next page, that's basically all you have to do to start your month. So that's the typical beginning of a month. There's a few other things that I've added that I've learned about in the bullet journal community that I've added that are helpful for me at the beginning of the month. And so I'll show you what I added this month and talk about how it's different than what I added last month in December, because there are some differences. The next page here is what would be considered in the community your habit tracker. So the habit tracker is typically actually set up the other direction. Let me show you my December habit tracker. So here's my December habit tracker. So it's typically set up in the sideways direction. This did not work well for me. I did not enjoy turning my page, so I did not set it up this way. I set it up as you've seen here, down the page this way. The other thing that I struggled with my December habit tracker was these were all basically negative things. These were things that I wasn't doing well in my life that I wanted to improve on. Now, obviously that makes sense for a habit tracker. I want to make better habits, but this caused a lot of struggle for me. I felt guilty when I didn't do certain things. I felt like I had failed that day. I just really internally struggled with this. So I almost didn't even do a habit tracker this month, but then I decided one of my focuses for 2016 is self-love. So I decided to focus on, because I love me, today I did these things. So these are positive things that I did to take care of myself. A lot of them are the same thing that were on the other tracker, but I've just reframed it in that mind, and it is hopefully going to help. We'll see. So for example, this morning I did yoga, and today is the first, so I would shade in that little box there. If I went on a walk, these are, went on a walk, spent time outside, meditated, enjoyed a glass of tea. The one I really like is ate something just because it was delicious. So I feel like this sort of reframed it in a positive way. So I'm hoping that it will help, and we'll see. You'll also see that my bullet journal obviously isn't perfect, and I make mistakes, and when I do, I just scribble them out and keep going. So that's that page. On this page, we have my shopping list. So I typically go to the store once a week just because that's what works with our schedule. So I did this last month, and it was really helpful because normally I have like a sticky note over there and a piece of paper upstairs and something in my purse, all with different grocery lists on them, and then I have to find them all at the when I'm ready to go to the store. This way, as I think of something throughout the week that we run out of, I can just add it to the next Sunday's list, and then I've got everything ready when I'm ready to go. So this was really helpful. This was something that I enjoyed last month, and I kept this month. Something that was actually opposite of this page last month that I did not include this month was my bill tracker. So I typically, for the past 2 years, have written all of, every 2 weeks when we get paid, I've written down the bills that are due on these little strips of IKEA paper, this IKEA pad of paper, and then I've, just kept them all together, and then I can pay my bills. So I transferred that into here last month, and I did not enjoy that. So I decided to transfer it back to the piece of paper and not put it in here and see if I liked it. I'm just confirming that we're still filming. We are. Okay, so on my next page here is my plans for next month. So this was actually just something I ended up throwing into a blank page from last month, but I really enjoyed it. I'm big on reflection and not doing the same thing if it's not working. So I decided to make a what worked, what didn't, and what changes will I make throughout the month. If I think of something, maybe I see something cool on Instagram that I want to try next month, I can add it, or I can try it the next day if I want. But this just allows me to reflect, and this was where I realized the habit tracker wasn't working for me, the bill pay pages weren't working for me, that kind of thing. So this allows me to come back here. Now, this is actually my first daily page. So with the dailies, basically you write out the date at the top. This is a really poor example because this is a long weekend. Obviously, I have Friday off and I have Saturday and Sunday. I usually do Saturday and Sunday on the same page, and the reason is I always plan my next work day before I leave work. So on this week on Thursday, but just ignore this week. So typically on Fridays before I leave work, I'm going to write out my Monday daily. I don't write any further than that because Monday might just take this amount of space, but it might also take this page and this page, depending on what happens. And I'll show you an example of that in a bit. But so I always write out my Saturday and Sunday so that I can write out my Monday after that. But for example, on Tuesday, like if this was, so like at the end of Monday, I'm just going to write whatever page comes next. Maybe it's this page, maybe it's this page. Who knows how many notes I'm going to take on Monday, depending on what happens on that day. Maybe I think of a collection I want to make of books to read or something like that, and so Tuesday is here. Wherever, when I leave work on Monday, whatever page I'm on, the next page is going to be Tuesday. But I'm never going to go ahead and write out the full week. Some people do, that's what works for them. This is what works for me, and why bullet journaling works so well for me is because I can have unlimited space. If I need to take 3 pages of notes during a meeting, I have that space and I haven't cramped up on Tuesday. So that was why a traditional planner never worked for me and why the bullet journal worked so well. So for me, this is just my kind of task list for the weekend. My weekends are usually not that involved in the bullet journal because I use it for home and work, but for me it's mainly work is the place that I write down the most stuff for. So then this is what a day looks like when it's been planned the night before. So Monday morning I've got 2 meetings. And then these should be bullets, but I drew lines and then I just kept with it. So these are tasks that I have to do. So throughout, perhaps on my daily stand-up, I'm gonna get some more tasks to do. I'll add them here, and then maybe I'm gonna hop on a call with someone. And so I'll just start the notes wherever I am, and I'll write out the notes. So that's kind of how the spread works. Let me show you actually a page, a real page, a real day, a real boy. So this is last Wednesday. So these were my 2 tasks. These were all of, these were my 2 scheduled events. These were all of the tasks that I had to do. Now this one got a little messy because I started this call and I just kind of scribbled everywhere, which typically I would have turned to the next page, but we were almost done with the call, so I just put a little note over here. So then my tasks ended up over here too. But basically, this is all a mess now, but it's all here in one place, and I didn't have to like switch to a notebook to take notes in or whatever. So basically that's how it happened. And then on this day, on Wednesday, I wanted to make a collection. So collections are lists of any type. And this one has a special gold marker because I come back to this every day. I've been doing the Miracle Mornings, which I'll list information about below. But basically what it is like kind of a purposeful morning the same way every day. So one of those is positive affirmations. So for me, I wrote out positive affirmations. I actually left a blank page, which I don't typically do because I could have gone somewhere else in the notebook and continued my affirmations. But I knew I would be looking at this page every single morning, and so I wanted it to either be blank over here or have more positive affirmations and not be gummed up with Thursday and all the stressful things that are happening on a Thursday. So that's why I left it here. I did this gold marker just because I do come back to this every single day. So while this is indexed in the front, it's a lot faster to find it like this. So another example of a collection that I have in here is, let me find it. I did books to read. So for example, at work, we're starting a book club, and there's some books we had already thought of, and then there's one of my goals in 2016 is to read a lot more in general. So I just started a list of books. When this gets full, I can go to whatever next page I have and start another book list. Go back to the index and index it. I always know where it is. So yeah, that's kind of my basic setup. Now you've seen what a day looks like when I'm planning it the night before, and you've seen what a day looks like when it's all said and done. And that's my setup. I'm not going to go page by page through it just because, first of all, there's some things in here that I legally can't show you, like some work stuff and stuff. But then I feel like you've kind of seen it now, and it would be really long to just go page by page. That's the basic setup. That's what I need for my everyday notebook. Hopefully you're right side up this time. I didn't like not being able to see you guys, so I turned you back around. Anyways, as I was saying, that's the basics of my setup. I have been adoring this setup. I feel so productive, mainly because I really like lists, but I like them because I like checking things off when I get done. That makes me feel very accomplished, and it speaks to my needing to get things done personality. So the list, you know, there's some things that before I would just be like, whatever, I don't want to do that. But I don't like having a lot of things migrated to the next day. And that's one thing, I don't know if I showed a good example. So for example, right here, this is a task that I migrated forward to the next day. So I don't like to have to migrate a lot of things. I like there to be more things checked off than there are migrated in a day. So that says, that task takes 10 minutes, let's just do it and get it done. And so it's made me a lot more productive, and it's made me so much more organized, because let's say, you know, I'm trying to remember a call that I had earlier in December. I can just switch back and my notes are there, and as opposed to being, you know, in a notebook over here, and my daily stuff is in a notebook over here, and my, you know, I'm halfway through my day and I remember something I need from the grocery store, and I've got to, you know, go find my grocery list and add it to it. Everything being here, just, it's all my brain. Like this is my brain right now, and I really like it. So anyways, I'm a big fan of my bullet journal. Another video I already am planning on doing, and I might do right after this, is like what kind of supplies I use. Obviously, all you need is a 99-cent composition book and a pen, a basic $1 pen. I mean, that's all you need. But there are just some fun things that I enjoy, and that's totally optional. But I will show you what I've been using. Obviously, my planner supplies are not enormous, but I have been enjoying them. So I'm going to make another video about that. But if there's anything else you want to see, or any specific examples, or something that didn't make any sense at all because this was totally rambly is what I meant to say, please let me know. And I'll be happy to share anything else. And I'll be happy to share, you know, next month if I decide to do anything different. If that's something you guys are interested in, just let me know. I highly suggest this if you are a list type person and a person who likes to have everything together. One thing I did want to mention is some people do a separate bullet journal for home and work. For me, since I work out of my house, if I was still working in an office, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If I was still working in an office, I probably would have 2 separate ones, and I would leave my work one at work when I leave each day. But since I work from home, it obviously isn't difficult to transfer between the 2 places, so I use one. I really like having one place for everything. We were joking at work yesterday about the tabs at the top of Gmail and how it separates out your email for you, and how I turned mine off because I didn't like it, and apparently I was in the minority with that. And I was joking that it was like some restaurants that serve you like your rice in one dish and your food in the other, and that really bothers me because I don't like them being on separate plates. It's kind of like that. I like everything being on the same plate, and this system has allowed that, and I'm in love with it. Thank you guys for listening to this ramble and terrible apparent not being able to film facing down very well. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know what questions you have, or if there's any other videos you want me to film. And I'll see you guys later. Happy 2016! Bye!